Welcome to today's morning power up call. Excellent. Let's go and dive right in. I don't have a ton of housekeeping stuff to talk about. I don't have a ton of craziness to go over with you guys far as different things I need to cover inside the program. Oh wow, I did not get a screenshot of that message. That's okay. I know the message and we can talk about it anyways. But we have another opportunity to gather together as members of this copywriting campus, this unique place on the entire internet, this place where people come together, and I teach you using copywriting. I teach you how to think. I teach you how to open your mind. I teach you how to look out into the world and find opportunities to increase people's revenue, increase people's impact, and thereby earn your own financial freedom. Now, all this requires you to, and I remember I was having a conversation with my sister. I love my sister. She's a great person. However, my sister, she's a little more liberal than I, which is fine. People can have different opinions. It's completely okay. But I remember one time I was having a conversation with her years ago, and we were talking about billionaires. We're talking about someone like Jeff Bezos or someone like that. And just I want to make 100% clear, like there is no hard feelings between myself and my sister. We get along just fine. We're happy for each other. Everything's good. But I remember we were talking about Jeff Bezos and about these other millionaires, Warren Buffett, and those are just the public ones. There's like the quiet ones that no one knows about. But these self-made billionaires, and we were talking about them, and she told me, she's like, I feel like they're not even human anymore. They're just like not human. And I was like, I feel the complete opposite. I feel like they're more human than other people. And we had a difference of opinion. And I remember we just were looking at it in different ways. But I remember in my mind, I was thinking, okay, your average person on the street lives a small life. Their brain is turned on 1%. Someone like a Jeff Bezos or an Elon Musk, for example, has had to open their mind and develop new capacities and new skills and new thought models that have allowed them to understand the world at a greater level and create a massive impact in the lives of other human beings, like on a huge scale, right? On just a massive, huge scale. And I know personally what part of that awakening and development process feels like. And I feel more human or more capable or more awake today than I did a year ago or 2 years ago or 10 years ago. So for me, this process is one of awakening, of developing your mind, of developing new capacities and new perspectives so that you can be more of a human, become more of a person, someone who with a greater impact, someone who has done or is able to do greater work in this world. Now, this call isn't just for me to philosophize and tell you stories about conversations I've had with my sister. This is a call where I get together and I bring you guys once a day, usually at 11 a.m., unless I'm traveling or in a plane or something like that. Gather you all together and allow you to feel a sense of community as you gather with other students, but also to give you guys energy, to give you guys ideas, and give you guys mini lessons based on things that I'm seeing inside of the chats, based on conversations I'm having with students. Yesterday, I was answering questions in the Ask Professor Andrew channel. And there's a guy I've been going back and forth with. I have a 6-hour timer on that, which kind of keeps it from getting too crazy. But I was talking with a guy. We've been talking for the last couple of days, going back and forth. And he's like, man, I've been in the program for 6 months. I've done 1,000 cold email outreaches, and I haven't landed a client yet. I've got one reply. What am I doing wrong? Or like, what do I need to do? Does this even work? All this stuff. And I was like, man, I can't really give you any feedback until I see your stuff. And I actually had him send a screenshot of his outreach. Normally, I don't review outreach inside of the channel, but since he's been in there for 6 months and done 1,000 outreaches, I was really like, I personally became very curious to see what his email was like. So he sent me his email outreach. His open rates are still good. He was just getting like 0 replies. So I looked at his email outreach. I started reading, and I had a screenshot of it, and I don't know where my screenshot is, so I'm going to have to just remember it for you guys. But it became very apparent within like one line that he was suffering from what I like to call sales blindness. Now, sales blindness is a term I invented in the moment. And exactly when I read it, I'm like, dude, this guy is suffering from sales blindness. And I asked myself, well, wait a second, what is sales blindness? What is this term you just invented? And sales blindness is this condition that you get when you lose the ability to see the other person and are instead entirely focused on the thing that you are selling, or the fact that you're there to make a pitch, right? You become so focused on that that you don't even see the other person in the room anymore. That's what it feels like. That's what sales blindness is. It's a massive obsession and a focus on this at the expense of the other person and what they're there for. So when you show up and communicate when you have sales blindness, you're like, hey, this pitch, like I have ideas for how to improve your business and the business. I have these ideas and I'm going to help you with email marketing and then you list all these things and it's like, this is your thing. And that's how you show up with every conversation. If you show up and it's so one sided and you're so obviously sales blind, and you can't see them and it's not about them and you're not communicating with them as if that's what's happening right now, right? Because you're not pitching them when you do that first outreach. You're introducing, you're having a first encounter with them and you're teasing something valuable and you're determining whether they care, right? And if they care, you're going to tell them more. If they don't care, you're going to leave happily, right? That's the social interaction that's occurring. But when you develop sales blindness, you only see it as like a chance to sell your thing, right? And that is what it becomes. And it limits your ability to connect with that person. It limits their desire to interact with you. Have you ever met someone who acts so self-absorbed that they can't even hear what you say? You say something nice or interesting about your life or even their life, and they literally cannot hear it because they're so hyper-focused on that one thing that they're talking about. I may or may not have been that guy a couple of times in my life. I can think of moments when I've been that self-absorbed or absorbed in a project that I literally couldn't even hear the other person. And while that might have been great in the moment for me to get the projects done, it was not great for the interpersonal relationships in the moment. No one likes to be ignored at the expense of something, right? So when that was the advice I gave him, like, hey man, you've got sales blindness. I'm going to do a power-up call about this and talk about it more in depth, but here's the cure. The cure is to realize that first encounter and every encounter really with a prospect, it's a lot less about the thing you have to offer. That's just the thing you tease at the end, right? And it's a lot more to do with them, right? As a person, what's in it for me? The question that they're asking, the thing that they care about, they're fixated on some other aspect of their world. If you can be talking about that, you're more likely to build a connection. If you are so hyper fixated and rigid and tight and like, I am here to pitch and I need this sale and you're desperate and you're focused on that one thing, that sales aspect of the interaction, it's going to come across like that and you are going to suffer big time. You might send 1,000 emails and never get a reply because you're so hyper focused on your own thing. So now there's obviously a couple of reasons, other reasons this has existed. Obviously, this guy definitely didn't listen to the advanced influence content inside of the courses which I created. For everybody, once you finish the bootcamp, you should watch the advanced influence content and you should watch the AI course, right? The AI content. Both of those things are massively going to speed up and refine your understanding that you've developed inside of the bootcamp, that foundation. It's going to stack on top of it and give you clear direction and help you to move forward blindingly quickly, right? Just rush forward, right? So he obviously hadn't done that. And he obviously hadn't gotten any clear feedback from his legion. He was in the Wolf Legion, and he clearly hadn't gotten any clear feedback from his fellow students about this. And if he had, he ignored them, right? Guys, one of the powers of being inside of this campus is you have 1,000 eyes you can bring any moment to look at your situation. So if you're hyper fixated on this, you can bring 1,000 eyes in to look at your current situation and find your problems, right? Like my set of eyes are pretty good, but what's better than my set of eyes are 1,000 eyes inside of your legion who can just show up at any second, review your stuff, take a look at your plan, take a look at your current action, and spot the gaps, spot the errors, and help you find a better solution. It was obvious that he hadn't really done that. Now, there's a lot of reasons. Some people are afraid. Some people aren't engaged with it. Some people don't even know they can. Some people don't even know about the resources I just mentioned inside of course. They just don't know that they're there, right? Spoiler alert, they're there. There's a lot of gold in there. And I have nothing. I mean, obviously, I'm going to help the guy, and we'll go back and forth to get him dialed in. And he's learned a wonderful lesson in this process. But I wanted just to highlight it for everyone else and help you guys understand this sales blindness because I've seen it before. I've seen it before with copywriters who are reaching out to people. I've seen it in other people in the world, and it's one of the fastest ways to lose at sales because sales is about connection. It's about human relationships. You're creating human relationships with these people. At the end of the day, if you can do that better than other people, if you have better emotional and conversational intelligence than another person, you have an advantage over them. So a lot of people, when they get hyper focused on the sales side of it, they can fall into this trap where they stop viewing it as a human interaction. You have to slow down. You have to realize it's a human interaction and you need to treat it as such. It's a powerful tool. I don't often recommend books, but I am finally going to recommend one for everybody inside the campus. This is one every single copywriting student should read or listen to at some point during their journey, right? Ideally, when you're going through the boot camp, you're going to listen to this and you're off time when you're doing your push-ups or something like that. But you need to read or listen to How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's an old book. It's a classic book, but it's a very important book, and it teaches and it helped me when I was a very young man understand what makes humans tick and understand how to influence and win friends and influence people. And it's been wildly, wildly valuable to me as I've gone through my life. So I'm going to add this as an official book recommendation into the boot camp because I think it's going to massively help everybody. But if you're just a regular copywriting student, you've gone through the boot camp and you haven't read it, you haven't listened to it, go read it, go listen to it. There's a million free versions of it on YouTube. Someone like just reading it out loud. Go read this book. Go listen to this book. It will give you the ability to understand human interaction in a way that you probably haven't before. In fact, I'm going to re-listen to it because I haven't, and it might be a fun thing to do at the beginning of the year. So again, the book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I will probably just make a general announcement in the announcements channel with a link to like some random YouTube video so you can all listen to it. But I want everyone inside the campus to have read or listened to this book. It will become very clear who hasn't in the coming weeks or days. It shouldn't take you very long. It's a fairly short book. But I will be dropping links so you guys can get started with it. It is a powerful tool. Human interaction and understanding human beings is at the core of what we do here inside the copywriting campus. You're connecting with other people, both as a sales guy when you're setting up your freelancing business and you're landing your first clients, but when you're writing for people, you're still just connecting with others. That's really it. You're connecting with others, you're providing them value, and then you're getting them to do things for you and for them. That's life. That's the game. That's essentially copywriting. And this book is a good, solid foundation with lots of fun stories to help you understand this principle. So I will be dropping this link inside of the channel at some point. Warren Buffett credits Dale Carnegie's course, which is basically his book, as the best single investment he ever made in himself. So it's a cool book. I'll drop a link to it inside of the channel because, and again, I don't normally recommend reading books, but this one is definitely I see a clear gap. I see a clear need for this information inside of and for you guys. So I'm going to make a specific recommendation. Guys, this has been a fun call. I did something I haven't normally done, and that is I've recommended a book. But I've shared some ideas, I've shared some perspectives I think are going to help you guys as you approach copywriting, as you approach interacting with other people, because at the end of the day, this is just human interaction. With AI coming, human interaction is going to matter more than ever. So with AI here, actually, human interaction and understanding human beings is going to matter more than ever. So I'm going to recommend this book. I'm going to drop it in the chat, give you guys access to it, and we're going to move forward. I've got some fun things. We've got a live copy review call later this week. I'm going to be launching an info product with using just AI tools. I won't really touch or mess with the copy too much. I'm just going to let it rip live based on what AI does. I'm going to create the product with AI. I'm going to create the ads with AI. I'm going to create the landing pages. I'm going to create everything with AI, launch it within 24 hours until we can get to revenue within 24 hours using AI, just to show you guys how fast it all works and to give you guys kind of an inside look as to what a low ticket funnel looks like in the first place. But yeah, guys, this has been a fun call. We'll do this again tomorrow. I've got a lot of fun things for you guys today. I will talk with you guys tomorrow and on our next morning power up call, just like I will do every single day from between now and, Armageddon, or when Skynet happens and we just go fight robots or a zombie apocalypse or something like that. But outside of those events, I will be here doing a live call with you guys every single day. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.